everyone. Welcome to the CyberThreat Talks Podcast, where we explore the ever-evolving landscape of the cybersecurity world. I am your host, Kajan, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ahan.
Today, we are joined by a special guest, the Associate Director of Cybersecurity Engineering and Operations at the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, and my networking teacher, Kavitha Ingole. Hello, Kavitha Auntie. Thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Ahan and Kazan.
Kavitha Auntie, if you could, for those who don't know you, introduce yourself with a few fun facts about yourself, and what specifically you do in the world of cybersecurity.
As Ahan put it, I am currently the Associate Director for Cybersecurity Operations and Engineering and at DTCC. And I have 20 years of experience in the field of IT and cybersecurity. I have a master's in cybersecurity, but the main thing I enjoy is mentoring high schoolers and especially girls in STEM, area of STEM. So that's how I met Ahan as well. So thanks, Ahan, for having me here.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for coming. Now, before Kajan asks you about some general questions about how you view the world of cybersecurity, as someone who has gotten the pleasure to talk to you personally and learn from you as a student, I wanted to first get your insight on how you started in the field of cybersecurity and your evolution in the cybersecurity space over the years. So the first question I'd like to ask Avanti is, were you always interested in the world of cybersecurity, or was it something that you got interested in later stages of your life?
Good question, Ahan. So I was always interested in cybersecurity, but we did not know it as cybersecurity then. It was mostly system security or network security, or even later we called it information security. But whatever it was, I was always interested in the security portion of it rather than the administration portion of it. So that is how I got interested in cybersecurity.
So, Kavitha, I know you've had a lot of jobs throughout your entire career, whether that was being an information security manager at Cognizant Technologies or now being an associate director of engineering and operations. But I wanted to ask you, what is your role in your current cybersecurity job, and what would an average day look like?
In my current role, I'm the functional manager for a cybersecurity team that is full of SMEs, subject matter experts in their own technologies and their field. So our typical day would be managing the technologies, fine-tuning, either could be implementations or just putting down some fire with incident response or anything related to that. But let me assure you, it's going to be fun and eventful. So
yeah, that seems like a very fun and action-packed day.
Yep, it is.
So yeah, so I would like to know that any person, like personally from my experience, any person regardless of their position or amount of experience in their field has to start somewhere. So I wanted to ask you, when and what was your first cybersecurity job?
As I said, Ahan, we didn't know it as cybersecurity at that point. What I started out as was an IT engineer. But I started out with the system and network administration, and you know how cybersecurity is. It's all about protecting your data when you're in a network, right? So that is how I gradually migrated to the cybersecurity jobs. I found the network security portion of it very interesting. But what helped me get into cybersecurity easily was my end-to-end experience with operating systems and databases and all of those. So that helped.
Yeah. So, I know, like, I would like to move on maybe a bit further into your career, and I know that you've had a very long and successful career in cybersecurity. So I wanted to know, was there any specific cybersecurity experience that had an impact on you, whether that was positive or whether that was a negative experience?
Cybersecurity experience that impacted me have always been very positive. It's about the learning. It's about the continuous learning that comes with this field because the technologies keep evolving. It just grows in a rapid rate, right? And you have to keep pace with it. You have to hit the ground running wherever you go. So that experience, the thrill, I love the part of the job. So that is a positive impact that I have had. But when you know that you are actually making a change, you add value to the company because you're protecting the data, you're protecting
Yeah.
the company's investment and whatnot, right? That makes it more meaningful to you every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the reasons why I got into cybersecurity, because I think the fact that it's a ever evolving landscape, there's always something new to do, is what keeps you into the world of cybersecurity, keeps you like doing what you're doing. So I think looking like what you said there was a very good point. So, another thing that I would like to add, besides from your experience as somebody in the industry or working in the industry, I know you've had a lot of experience working with high schoolers and middle schoolers on things like certifications or competitions like Cyber Patriots. I mean, that was one of the reasons why how I met you. So I know that you have like a great interest in mentoring. So I'd like to know from you, um, how do you think that these competitions and certifications foster cybersecurity among the youth?
Uh, Today's youth, you all spend a lot of time in the internet more than we used to do. You're always on social media, either for your
Yeah.
school or the personal purposes. So you are more exposed to the internet and all the cons that come with the cybersecurity there. So yep. When I'm teaching, I'm more concerned that you all have to be safe when you're using internet. That's how I started teaching for the youth there. I started with the cybersecurity safety for kids, but then gradually started mentoring the STEM programs because it helps you know where you are getting to. Especially if you're interested in cybersecurity, you should at least know what are your opportunities, at least the basic uh, fundamental knowledge before you get into that field. That helps actually because we all have the habit of moving towards something we know, which is familiar to us, which is comfortable to us. So when
Yeah.
these sort of programs, they help kids get comfortable in that cybersecurity space.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that we also like aim to do. Like that's another reason is to get these people like into a cybersecurity, because the world is becoming more and more online. More people are spending more hours of their day online. So I would say that's another huge reason why we personally, our mission is to teach people about cybersecurity, is because it's becoming such a big space.
You will
Yeah.
certainly make a difference there.
And
Keep
with
it
our
going.
lives
Yep.
being online now, I think it's become even more of an important thing for us to be aware of such threats and keeping ourselves safe online.
Of
Yeah,
course.
exactly.
I think that it's great for our younger generation to learn about cybersecurity and the threats of our modern day world, especially coming from your personal experience in this field. That being said, with your background in this field, I would like your insight on the landscape of the cybersecurity world and how you see it evolving in the future. So, here are some questions that I have for you. First off, as someone who has an advanced understanding of the cybersecurity space, how do you see the tech landscape in the world changing right now and in the coming future with these ever evolving threats that are happening in the world right now?
Good question, Kajan. So the tech landscape, as you said, is ever evolving, progressing. What we know, the bad actors know it too. They know it better. So with the ransomware as a service and all those as a service things, we have to be more careful. With the generative AI and other new technologies that is coming up, it's this phishing and smishing, all of it. It became very easy for the bad actors to target the victims. So it's the ever-changing landscape. New technologies are coming up, but always remember there is a human factor there. We are the weakest link in all of the cybersecurity. So it's mostly we have to keep educating our employees, and even you all have to educate your peers and students on how to be safe here.
Yeah, that's great. In all the jobs you have worked in, what are some of the most common cybersecurity threats you see? Whether that be the businesses you have worked at or ones in other businesses that impact their daily lives and functions.
The most common cybersecurity threat I see is social engineering. Trust me, whatever business it is, there are people. There are people who work for that business. So it's the social engineering which is a very common factor in all these, different businesses. Because targeting the person, you can actually get the information. Okay, so that I would say is the common factor. But nowadays, I would say uh, attack wise, more of ransomware that I'm seeing that is targeting most of the businesses, especially the healthcare and the schools that you're all seeing. And you all saw about that Dallas police being a victim of the ransomware recently too. So that is some more common one
Yeah.
seeing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you brought up a good point with the social engineering, because I feel like a lot of people think that the worst threats that we have like the worst threats for cybersecurity or to a company is those external threats, right? So those people that are not necessarily in your company, you think a lot of people think that those bring the most harm to a business, but I think you brought up a good point saying that those who actually work inside the company, they would actually be more knowledgeable and be able to actually harm the company more, because as employees of that company, they have access to a lot of sensitive information that maybe an external threat would not have.
Yes, of course. Companies have started investing in insider risk programs where the threat landscape has changed so much that we do not know any longer consider the threat is coming from outside. Okay, there is no clear perimeter. We used to have it before a couple of decades, but now it's all very flat. So the insider risk is a must-have program in most of the companies where you monitor the identity and access and all of those controls for your employees as well.
You're right. And I know Ahan, you gave a bit of a summary, but Kavita Auntie, if you could you give us a explanation of what social engineering is for those who don't know?
Social engineering is manipulating the human beings, the employees or anyone involved, to give out information. It could be making a call, acting as someone who has the authority to get the information, and manipulating the person on the other side to give out the information. So it started out in a simple ways before the cybersecurity internet era. It was always there. The social engineering piece has been there, but it has just evolved to newer techniques and technologies. And currently, we are all using AI to scam people. Okay, we have known social engineers as scammers, right? Whether it is phishing, smishing, making you click on a link, or making you fill a survey for a $20 Amazon gift card where you put in all your information and send it their way. Data is gold. Okay, so that is what they try to get the information. How they get it through human beings is what social engineering is all about. You generally wouldn't give it away, but they make you give it away with their techniques. So
Right. And
hope
it's
that helps.
important to know that cybersecurity goes beyond the online world and it happens in the real world too. And you have to be aware and cautious of that too.
Yeah.
Right, so on to our next question. With your vast experience in the cybersecurity space, what do you think are the best cybersecurity practices for businesses to implement to keep themselves safe from these threats?
Any business should educate their employees on the best security practices. They should all be subjected to security awareness and trainings. As I said, human beings are the weak factor in all of this. In security, we have a term. we are as strong as the weakest link. Okay, so the human beings generally are the weakest link. We can manipulate them to give information, play on their emotions and so on. So they have to know what is safe and what is not safe, and how to secure the company's data, with their actions. So first would be the awareness training programs. The second would be, in every company is different. What are their critical business data? Based on that, they have to act like, whatever is right for health industry might not be the same for a retail or an industrial application industry. So it's different. They have to assess their current posture and then make decisions based on what they need, where are their gaps, and then address that. It's not about just implementing newer technologies. Okay, if you do not implement it right, there's no point having newer technologies. It's securing what you have. So they have to focus on securing their current capabilities and building new capabilities. So I'd
Right.
leave it up there.
Right. Yeah, I think that's extremely important in the cybersecurity world. So I know you touched on AI earlier, and based on my experience in both artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, I think that AI has become a trending topic and become more mainstream than it ever was before. What do you think about the impact that AI will have on the cybersecurity landscape and vice versa?
AI, again, like any technology, it's about how we use it, right? Like if you use a technology for good or you use a technology to cause harm. So AI comes with its advantages. It can actually cut down a lot of manual tasks, and um, we are actually finding new usage for AI every day. But the cons of AI would be that threat actors and even the amateurs using it to social engineer, all of those things that come with that. Um, AI is a hot topic along with the quantum computing this year, and it has been the same for last year. It's going to be for a couple of years before we put in proper laws and governance around AI. Most of the companies currently ask you not to use AI, like that generative AI, the chat GPTs and so on. They have blocked it. The reason being they don't have a proper control over it. Okay, it can be used to leak your company's data and so on. So we need stricter controls around AI before we start using it. Currently, the concern for most of the cybersecurity people are around the concerns for the data security there with AI in place.
Right, and the fact that it's become more accessible to the common person kind of poses a threat, right?
Yes, of course. It's all about how the common person uses the um, technology, right? What do you use it for?
That's
Yeah, I would
great.
also say like you touched on regulations, right? And I think that if we were able to implement those sort of regulations to AI, I feel like there are a lot, like you mentioned, there are a lot of positive aspects to AI. So if we are able to implement those regulations and cut down on those more negative consequences, I think that it would be more streamlined and that those positives could help grow the cybersecurity industry. So if we're able to implement those regulations, I think that's definitely a great point that a
Yes,
lot of businesses should start implementing into their own models.
yes. Mostly the technologies evolve first, and the regulations came, later. That's how it has always been. Even with the AI, we do not know all the possibilities that it brings. So the regulations will be coming up in the next 2 years. It's coming in, but it's slow.
Yeah.
Okay, and for my last question, what are some new and coming technologies that you see shaping the future of cybersecurity and how we perceive it in our lives?
I like the part where you said how we perceive it, because that is where that is more important, the human factor. Okay, it's any technology, how we perceive it. It's what gives the shape for the technology. Even for AI, it's about how we perceive it and how we use it, right? So similarly, we are currently focusing on a lot of upcoming technologies like the quantum computing. With quantum computing getting more traction in the recent years, everyone is worried about their current encryption standards. Okay, how sooner is it all going to go, obsolete? So we need to, by 2026, most of the companies should go to a better encryption algorithms, because the current ones could be easily cracked with quantum technologies. So that is one. And then again, we are still focusing on the cloud security portion of it. Most of the companies have moved to cloud. But how we secure it, what are the regulations, those things are still going about. And then there's a lot more technologies that are coming into to how to secure your current posture and so on, like the risk, the threat, the EDR. There are a lot of technologies that are coming up, but mostly the AI and the quantum computing is what I hear the most.
Yeah, and I noticed that you touched on quantum computing, so I would like to know, since it's a relatively new technology that's been coming out, how does that relate to cybersecurity as a whole?
So the current encryption technologies that we use, a normal computer cannot break it, okay, cannot decrypt it. So when we use all of those, when we say, hey, I'm using a 512 key algorithm to secure my data and so on, it takes time for a normal computer, like the regular ones that we use currently, whatever power that it has, processing that it has to break it. But with quantum computing, it takes processing to a newer level, right? So it's going to break all those encryption algorithms that we all currently have, whatever we think it is secure now. So, say, for example, I had data that I stole from you. I'm not able to decrypt it at present, but I'm saving it. Okay, so when the quantum computing comes in, I have a way to decrypt and get your data. Okay, so even the whole thing with the encryption was that even if the data falls onto the wrong hands, they can't access it because it cannot be decrypted. But with quantum, all those risks come into the picture. Okay, so that is why most companies are concerned. Okay, what will be their uh, encryption state when all this quantum computing comes into picture?
And I noticed how you talked about like some of the negative, like you talked about how quantum computing could make it easier to decrypt some of the widely used encryptions right now. But do you think maybe inversely quantum computing can be used like positively to make even stronger encryptions? Is that one of the benefits of quantum computing that you see happening right now or in the future?
Yes, quantum computing actually can bring about a lot of positive changes as well. But this one concern is a major concern for most of the companies. What happens to their current data that was taken away with the current encryption? You know,
Oh,
but yeah.
yeah.
Again, every company needs to change their capabilities to suit like what's coming out in the industry, right? So this is something they all have to adapt sooner, if in case they don't fall prey to the cons of the quantum computing. So
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you so much for your time, Kavitha. I feel like we've learned a lot about the cybersecurity world from you. And I hope with this knowledge, some of the people who may be watching this podcast will be able to take away some knowledge that you have given and start their own journey in cybersecurity.
Thanks for having me here, Ahan and Kajan. I appreciate you both doing this effort. You're trying to share what you're learning with your peers and you're sharing your cybersecurity knowledge. Keep up the good work, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you
Yep, thank
so
you so
much.
much, Shanti.
Thank you so much for coming on and spending your time here with us. This is
Yeah.
CyberThreat Talks, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.